Hello from an absolutely roasting Llangollen. It is during the heat wave that we had at the end of June, because it's going to be a while before this video goes out. It is so hot I slept for 12 hours, so I overslept, and I'm about an hour and 45 minutes later than what I wanted to be, and now it's roasting hot. But I still want to do a bit of riding, and also Jim is recovering from having the plates out of his shoulder, so he's kind of doing, well, not kind of doing, he is doing editing, and if I was there I would be pretty much in the way and we'd probably fall out. He is suffering a little bit. I think he underestimated how much anaesthetic, because it was general anaesthetic, actually affects him. And to be fair, he knew it was going to be like freaking 35 to 38 degrees after having the operation, so I can't really blame him for struggling. But he is being quite sensible, because he did think that he'd be back on the bike by today, which is only 2 days after the operation, and I think he's realised that that's not possible. So I've decided to put body armour on, because Llangollen always makes me feel a little bit nervous and scared, and I actually haven't ridden this place in the dry, and you would think that that would actually make me think, oh, that's better because it's in the dry, but it doesn't, because some of the worst crashes that can happen can be in the dry. So I'm a little bit nervous. Obviously I'm here on my own, which adds an extra bit of dynamic, but I'm not going to put any pressure on myself today, because it was hard enough to actually get out and ride as it was, because it's been so hot. I've been bitten to death overnight by loads of horseflies, so I'm not feeling great. So I actually forgot a couple of little bits I was supposed to bring to film, but I did bring one bit, and that will make sense because I'm wearing it, which is my brand new helmet from Abbas. So this is a full face Enduro helmet, so it's nice and lightweight, and it really is lightweight. It's got one of those buckles on it, which is a little bit awkward. Not a massive fan of those buckles, but the padding inside's really nice, and it's got loads of adjustments. So me and Jim are actually wearing the same size helmet, which is mad considering his head's quite a bit bigger than mine, but that's because it adjusts so much. So I'm gonna wear that and forget about the other things I forgot to bring and get started. Don't care how many laps I'm doing, I'm just gonna use loads of assistance pretty much and keep going till the battery's flat, which probably here is not going to be that long considering the climbs are savage. Without an e-bike, obviously. With an e-bike, not so bad. It was pretty much a river, because it doesn't take much rain here to make this really wet, and so it's quite a tricky climb, whereas today it's all tricky in a different way because it's so loose and you're like sliding around everywhere trying to do it. First bit of the climb was, I'm quite scared to go down these tracks, but that's why I'm here, because I sort of have Llangollen as like struggling to think of the word, like a comparison thing. So I don't come here that often. It's not Jim's favourite place to ride unless he's doing the off-piste stuff, which I can only really do 2 of those trails because they're so like steep, scary death. So hopefully we'll get onto those ones today. So I ride the other trails just to like gauge kind of where I am with maybe confidence and skill. But my worst crashes that I've ever had, so I'm a little bit out of breath, is because it's still really hot and I got a full face on and body armour, but it'll be worth it. Yeah, where was I? So yeah, some of the worst crashes have been in the dry and dry and loose, but I realise now I never used to brake properly, so I would just do way too much front braking as well. I'd almost pull the brakes evenly, which definitely, if you're going faster than what you want because it's really loose and dry and then it's steep and then you're pulling the brakes as well, it's only going to end one way. It's a lot warmer up here, which I suppose makes sense. Hardly used any battery, and it took me 10 minutes to get to the top, so that was not killing myself either. That was comfortably in EMTB plus. So let's get this first run done. And just seen some people on, I guess they're doing like green laning motorbiking, I reckon. So I'll probably see them in a bit when I'm doing the climb back up. Depends how long it takes them to get past the people pushing. It's ridiculously hot already. So the only thing I've ridden this week was Llangollen, and that was Wednesday. So Wednesday was the day of Jim drop. So I dropped him off, went to Llangollen for the day. I was supposed to go to Fort on Tuesday on the day up, but my iPhone 15 overheated, and when I say overheated, it literally like really caught fire. So I had to go and get myself a new phone. So I went to Want a New Gadget. So they got a website, wantanewgadget.com. So I went to their actual place. So just pause that thought for a sec. This is Gentle Giant, so this is the easiest track here. And I'm already really scared because it's so loose and dusty. Anyway, I'll keep talking to you, so take my mind off it. Yeah, anyway, but that was a bit of a detour. You wouldn't normally go to their place, you normally get it online. But I went there, it was in Stoke-on-Trent. So it was about an hour and a half detour. But because of that, obviously, didn't get to Fod on the way because I went there instead, which was fine, and they sorted me out and absolutely meant iPhone 14. So I've gone for like an age older because apparently when it changes into the 15 and newer, they use some form of like titanium thing. Sorry, slowed a little bit there. The vibration of this very sore on my hand. It's very need a bit of help. Anyway, yeah, so they changed it to this titanium thing, and what it does is it basically overheats the phone because of how it's made, and the SIM card is constantly, and the little things inside are constantly looking for signals, and they're getting like mega hot, and basically it just burned itself up. Except that it decided to do that at like midnight, and I couldn't get it to cool down, and it was very scary. Here I'm actually starting to feel stressed, and I know this is weird because I'm smiling as I'm saying that, but like stress and fear and anxiety, they're just I mean, if they're out of control, they're bad. Like, definitely don't get me wrong there, but to have a feeling of that, recognize for it for what it is, and also be able to accept that it's there, is a really important thing to do. So I'm feeling quite stressed. I can feel my heart rate is elevated more than just the fact that I'm pedaling uphill and it's hot. It is anxiousness because I know in my head I've done the easiest track here, which by no means is easy, because Llangollen isn't an easy place to ride. It is a downhill place, which isn't exactly my forte. I do prefer the more enduro trails, and even what we did class is more duro. They're very hard here because the hill is steep and the conditions are difficult, but it's good that I feel this way and I'm still going up, because what it's doing me good is it's teaching me to let go of that stress, accept that it's there. There is no pressure. I can get off at any point here and have a little break or whatever I want to do. You know, I don't have to ride the trails at full pelt. I don't even have to ride full trails. I can walk whenever I want if I want to, but the point is I made myself get up and come here even though I was scared, and even though when I got to the bottom of that trail I was aware that I'd done the easiest one. I got back on the bike and did it again, and I think that's really important. Wearing goggles. I've got some new news about goggles on the goggle front, so that might change my mind, we'll see. Oh, the wind's picked up a bit. It was due to be getting windier, which is one of the reasons why I come out earlier, to be fair, before the wind picks up later. I've been here before when it was a little bit windy and I didn't like it. Okay, so don't want to do that one yet, but we're not gonna go and do the one we did before. This one. Yes. Successfully on another trail. Feel my trousers falling down. I'm still wearing a size 32 trouser. So a medium. But I'm definitely not that size anymore. And if I get on the steep stuff, my trousers tend to fall down. I just haven't got around to buying anymore. First, because like part of me is like, I should get shorts because it's hot, and then the other part of me is like, I hate wearing shorts because my legs are exposed and then they get scratched, and then I'm like, but it's a heat wave and it's too hot for trousers. So basically, because I haven't been able to make up my mind of what to get, I have got nothing. So I am still wearing my trousers that are too big. Welcome to my brain. And every time I wear them, I'm like, oh, you idiot. I think this was the track that Jim was doing coaching on, or maybe it is this one. Can't really remember. It's like a high line up there, but also that it probably hasn't been used very much. This is not the one that Jim's coaching on. It is the one that up till recently I couldn't ride, but she did it with no hesitation whatsoever, even in the scary, dusty stuff. Ow. Well, I am pleased that I didn't wear, so I don't have any bike shorts, but I do have a pair of Rab walking shorts, which are also too big, but they do up nicely around the waist. So I have been wearing them on the bike, but I thought I'd wear trousers today, and I'm glad I did, because that there was very scratchy, and that would have been scratchy, ouch, my legs. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, so I couldn't do that. I was always very scared, and the last few times I've been here I've done it, but hesitantly. I wasn't like mega happy about doing it, whereas that felt good. I've used a bar and a half of battery, so I'm going to go up again. I did that last trail twice. I went up again and filmed it for a reel, so I'm going to head across that way, but instead of keeping along the top and dropping down there, I'm going to drop down a little bit earlier to do another track with some nice corners and a slightly different bottom section, I think. And then I think I might head over to some of the off-piste. I'll see how the battery's doing. I'm actually really enjoying just riding here, but I will have done all the easy stuff here now, and then the stuff up more on the left hand side, I think it's more jumpy, although maybe like Son of Squirrel might be okay. I don't think that's jumpy, I think that's just like steep and loose, so we'll see the battery, because if I do go and do those off-piste ones, they've both got quite big climbs to them, so I want to make sure I don't run out of battery on those. On it so far, because it's so airy because of all these vents, but it's so lightweight as well, but so much air comes through, so much more than the Troy Lee, which I thought was really comfortable and airy, but this Abbas one is something else. Just about see it, but look at how tall the ferns are compared to me. Some of them are actually taller than me, so they're good over 5 foot. So the Loma off-piste that I really wanted to do is up this way, but I've so far come from here, which wasn't ideal, but nowhere near as bad as that. I'm just gonna get scratched to pieces, and my eyes are already on fire from hay fever, so I think I'm going to suffer for the rest of the day if I rub my face into any more of this stuff. I'm into trail for a bit, conserve a bit of battery, because I reckon I've got a few more ups in this. whether or not I do this trail based or whether it's overgrown or not. I think I've got, yeah, a couple more up, so if I just make this a little bit harder and save that for the more difficult part of the climb, then my riding should go a lot longer, which is really good because I told myself when I didn't really want to go out this morning that as long as I did an hour it'd be worth it, because Llangollen's about 25 minutes from Oswestry, and so that would make it okay, acceptable to ride for an hour with about 50 minutes drive. But as it's happened, I've already done an hour and 26 minutes, so I'm already winning. Just spoke to Jim. He said there's a new track, and I do remember actually seeing a man in a bike shop that said he built a new track here, and to look on Strava, but because I don't pay the extortionate fee for Strava, I can't search any tracks, and I think it would be a little bit dodgy for me to just put my nose down something that I've never been down before here, because the track that I'm going to ride is probably the easiest off-piste in this section of hill. So if I start going somewhere else, even if I think I'm finding an easier trail, I might not end on something that is easy, so I think we'll just stick to what we know. Last time I came here, it wasn't like this bit was a what would you call it, like a lulled me into a false sense of security basically, because although there was some nasty slippery routes, like this bit's quite slippy, as you can see it's sort of like quite flat and mellow, and I was like, oh, this is okay. And then the bit in a minute where we drop into the trail was my first sort of thing in my head where I was going, oh no. And then it basically carried on that whole way. But to be fair, I think I'd crashed on something on my own a few days before, and I'd split, like I'd really cut my arm, and as it turned out, it actually fractured my collarbone as well. So I had a really sore arm. I had this like resting on the other arm where I'd ripped it open, and yeah, Jim had just taken me on stuff. It was just too much for me, trying to sort of push me, but not understanding that sometimes you can push somebody too far, and once they've gone too far they can't then get their brain back together. And that's kind of where I was. So by the time we got to the bit that was genuinely harder, you know, like my brain had basically tapped out and just wasn't enjoyable. Anyway, we came back and I rode it really well. Now, is it this one? Yes. So this is the bit where I first went into the trail and went, oh my god, no. Yeah. Last time I rode it a lot better. This will add a brand new dynamic today because it's dry. And yes, in theory, dry trails are easier. However, dusty trails shouldn't be underestimated in terms of whether you've got good grip or not. So, I've been in a few situations before when I was probably less experienced where I've gone, oh, it's just dry and dusty. I know, that will be fine. And go flat out down there, only to realise that because it was dry and dusty, there was basically less grip than if I'd ridden it in the wet, which was quite frightening. Well, good old Magura brake saved me. Put me in the wrong line there, but saved me. And that nice big 38 fork that I have tuned myself to exactly what I like. Which certainly helps. And this is the overgrown bit. Nervousness is gone. I mean, that doesn't mean that I'm gonna be stupid and blasé for this track if I can find it, but what it means is that I'm so happy with what I've done so far, that even if I have to get off and walk this track, or I have to do that and I can't find the other track or something, I don't care, because one, I exceeded the time that I said was minimum by a massive amount, and also I did go up and do other laps even when those first laps were a little bit sketched out, and then off the back of that I went over to look at these off-piste trails that I have had problems with before in the past on my own, and it is daunting riding somewhere at this level on your own, but I still went and did it. And yes, I could have pushed harder, of course I could have, and probably if Jim had been riding with me, either in front or behind, I would have pushed harder, because there's somebody about, and not only does that give you a bit of confidence, but if you do get into trouble, there is going to be someone to sort of pick you up. But any of you guys know that ride solo a lot, you do have to ride differently on your own, whether it's a place that you think is risky or not, and often the worst crashes happen at places that aren't risky because you're pushing it, and then of course you've got to get yourself out, which is a totally different thing. So I'm interested to know how you deal with being scared of going to a place. You just avoid it unless you can go with somebody else, and even then, do you then kind of talk yourself out of it, or do you just sort of have in your head, no, that's too much for me, and you're kind of happy where you are? Let me know, because sometimes I do think, well, with jumps and stuff I'd like to be better, but then I also think, well, I mostly enjoy doing the stuff that I've done, you know, like the last track and the techie things, but then on the other hand, am I avoiding getting better at jumps because I'm scared of jumps, and the progression and the stuff I have to do to get better at it just seems too big of a task? I don't know, I'm not sure what's going on in my head with that just yet. I did not just ride Gym and Tonic, I actually rode a track called Endura. Gym and Tonic is the one that dropped down, that this one is supposed to go next to. So I hope this is the track, because there is another track over there that looks loamy as well. Now the trouble is, here I don't know what trails are death and what are not, and I know there are death trails and not death trails, but because I've only ridden one not death trail, I don't actually know which ones to avoid. So I'm hoping that this isn't one to avoid. I mean, so far it seems okay, but on the other hand, it might not also actually be the new trail, because I don't know what's old, but it seems alright so far. Plenty of nice bits of corners. I have to say, if I'd have come here a few months ago, I wouldn't have liked that top section though, because I would have found that too much. Likewise to this corner there, and this one here. So there is a definite big improvement, but I still wouldn't like to end up on some of the stuff that I've seen Jim ride here. You know, like, it does look way too much, and I know when he's ridden, and if he's scared, then it's not something that's going to be a very nice track, because he has got a lot more skill than I have and is more confident. So if he's scared, struggling and not enjoying it, the chances are I would be incredibly unhappy. So I'm going to say this is the new track, because he did say there was nothing scary on it, and so far I would agree. And there are loamy bits, and I imagine they were more loamy not so long ago. It's just been so dry, it's really dried out. Whoa. Now the problem is it isn't finished. So how do I get out? Very important part of the story is the fact that the track's not finished, and he didn't tell me that. So I am now in a bit of a dilemma, because it's very thick to get down through and it's very steep to get back up. So I'm not sure how I'm going to get out of this. I think I'm going to have to go back up. I do remember seeing a track running alongside it, and I don't know how difficult that track will be, but that might be my only option to actually get out of here, because I don't think without any tools I'm going to get through that. To Enduro, which is the one I did before, not gym and tonic, and I'm not going to do gym and tonic because the only person I can ask right now for reference of how difficult that track is Jim, the same person who just sent me down a track that hasn't been built yet, that's a dead end that I've had to hike a bike up and I'm half dead from doing. So I'm not going to take any of his advice about any of these other trails, and I will try gym and tonic at some point, but with somebody else, because I don't really feel quite in the right place to attempt a new trail I haven't done yet right now, because I need a break. I'm going to film the enduro line, the one that I showed you last, in media mode, and then we will catch back up on the nice loamy one that should take me back to the car. Very windy. So there's the main one giant leap over there, so that's where I was this morning. All of the off-piste stuff is over the hill there that you can't see. Over the furthest right is where the harder tracks are, and the ones furthest left are the ones that I was doing, and I'm probably not going to head back up and do another one because I'll nearly be out of battery, and to be honest, after pushing up I'm pretty tired. So I think I'll see what I feel like when I get to the bottom, because strictly speaking I reckon I could go another lap up there with the boost on, and do another lap and maybe go and do Sun and Squirrel, we'll see. Anyway, we've got to get down here in the wind first now, but this is the wind that they said there would be, which made me come out earlier this morning, that it was really going to pick up and be quite blustery. So I guess it's what's forecast, and why I was here at like 9:30 this morning is literally for that reason, to avoid it. So this, first crash in my new helmet. I was just going to say, last time I came down this, it was really soft. Well, now it is not soft at all. And very, very hard, actually, very hard packed. And I do have a back protector on, but it is a back protector only. It is not a front protector. So just nailed my shoulder into the ground onto quite a hard tree root. Get me foot out. But yeah, okay, so I need to watch this a little bit. When I came down here before, it was all loamy. It's now obviously just complete dust, and probably the fact that my legs are really tired have not helped. Anyway, 2 seconds, I should get back on the bike. Right. So that crash there was basically just because I tried to get some grip on something and the ground basically gave way. So all of the edges here are not really to be relied on, basically, because they don't provide support anymore, which is fine. But now I know I can just treat it as such, and I have to say this is definitely not loam anymore. This is very, very dry, and you might be able to hear the slate underneath me falling away now. Totally different track. Oh my god, I don't know if anyone's ridden this with it. Totally different track to what I rode before, which had quite a lot of grip on it compared to this. But I guess that's the difference between summer and winter. It looked like there might have been something else coming along there. If I needed anything to tell me that my ride is done for today, it was that crash. So thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and I haven't rambled on too much, but I was using you guys as somebody to talk to as I was on my own, and I'm not quite used to it these days. If you've enjoyed this video, please let me know why you liked it, what more stuff you'd like to see, maybe other places you'd like me to go to, whether you'd like to ride with me, or whether you think I can ride at some of your places now, because I can ride a bit better than I used to. Also, if you wouldn't mind, could you please follow my Instagram and my TikTok, because I'm really trying to grow those, and you'll see some stuff that you see on here, but also a lot more that you won't see on here. So if you'd like to give me a comment, subscribe to my channel, and subscribe to, well, not subscribe, but just follow my social media, I'd be most grateful. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.